Welcome back to the JL Day Show, everyone. We are doing our final mock draft for the 2024 NFL Draft that happens on Thursday, just 2 days away. We're going to go through the entire first round, every pick in the entire first round, and we start with the first pick. The Chicago Bears are on the board. I'm not even going to think about this for a second. Caleb Williams is the best player in the draft. I've been watching some of his tape, his escapability in the pocket, that big-time arm. He's one of the better quarterback prospects I've seen in a long time. Caleb Williams goes to the Bears. All right, this is where things start to get interesting. I originally painted Jayden Daniels to Washington, but there's been a lot of tension between the Jayden Daniels camp and the Commanders camp. I don't like tension. And when you're bringing in a franchise quarterback, you want to avoid tension at all costs. Drake May is going to the Commanders at number 2. He's got enough mobility to fit in with Cliff Kingsbury. I like Drake May to the Commanders here at 2. Now, at number 3, the Patriots are on the board. The Patriots are going to be trading this pick with the Minnesota Vikings. For this exercise, 11 and 23 in 3. We're going to force this trade. All right, now the Vikings are on the clock at pick 3. To me, this is where Jayden Daniels goes. This is a lot better of a situation, in my opinion. Jayden Daniels is a very good player. There's a lot of rumors saying he wants to play for the Raiders. There's no way he's getting all the way down to the Raiders. The Vikings need a quarterback. They could go J.J. McCarthy here. The rumor to really like J.J. McCarthy, but Jayden Daniels is just a better prospect. I think he's going to be a better player. I like him better than J.J. McCarthy. All right, now the Cardinals are up. They have Marvin Harrison or Malik Nabers. I like Nabers better, but I really do think, from what I've been hearing and what I've been watching, that they're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. There's some Malik Nabers off the field issues that I've been hearing about lately, so that's why they're going to go with the safer pick in Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, the Chargers are on the clock at pick 5. Harbaugh likes to build his team through the trenches. That's why Joe Alt is going to the Chargers at pick 5. He's the best offensive lineman in this entire draft. I don't see him picking a wide receiver like Nabers here when their offensive line needs some work. Joe Alt's a day one starter. I like Joe Alt to the Chargers at 5. Now, the Giants are on the clock. Luckily for Daniel Jones, Malik Nabers is still on the board. I think they give Daniel Jones one more shot at the quarterback position. If he can't make it work with Nabers, then he's got to kick rocks and go find a job somewhere else. Nabers is going to the Giants at 6. Now, the Titans are on the board at pick 7. They really need some offensive line help, particularly tackle. They could go edge here. They could go wide receiver like Rome Odunze, but I really think they're going to take the best offensive lineman available. To me, it's between Olu Fashanu and Talise Fuaga. I just like Fuaga's mean streak a little bit more. He's going to the Titans. Now, the Falcons are on the clock right now. I've seen a lot of mocks taking an edge defender and a lot of mocks taking a cornerback. So what do we do here? Do we go Quinyon Mitchell, the number 1 consensus D-back cornerback, or do we go edge? We can go Laiatu Latu. We can go Dallas Turner. But the way their defense operates, I think Dallas Turner is the best fit. 81 grade, 11 sacks last year, 33 hurries. He's a beast, man. He's going to be a lot to handle. I like him going to the Falcons at 8. Okay. Rome Odunze to number 9 with the Bears. A lot of people are like, the Bears need wide receivers, but they got a lot of people that can catch the ball. They got Komet. They got Gerald Everett. They got Allen. They got DJ Moore. Do they really need a wide receiver right now with a ton of wide receiver depth in this draft later? I don't think so, man. I think they might go D-line here, or they might go cornerback. I think they might go edge here. I'm going to really shake things up a little bit. I think the Bears are going to surprise some people and take a defensive lineman. I think they might go edge. And do we go with Laiatu Latu or Jared Verse? We could go wide receiver. Now that I'm looking at the board, I don't know. You know what? To me, I want to protect Caleb Williams. Olu Fashanu is going to the Bears at number 9. Now, the Jets are on the board at 10. I also think they're going to go Offensive line. They need help. Troy Fontano is the guy to go to the Jets at number 10, in my opinion. You could take Brock Bowers, but you need to establish an offensive line that's going to be good for you for years. Tyron Smith, coming over from the Cowboys, hasn't played a full season since like 2015. Troy Fontano is going to the Jets at number 10. Now, the Patriots are up at pick 11. They could definitely go quarterback here. There's plenty of quarterbacks on the board here. You go J.J. McCarthy. You go Bo Nix. You go Michael Penix Jr. To me, I think they go J.J. McCarthy. And the J.J. McCarthy era begins in New England. He could sit behind Jacoby Brissett for a year, and if he wins the job, that's best case scenario for the Patriots. J.J. McCarthy is going to New England. Now the Broncos are on the board. I've liked this pick for a really long time. They did just trade for Zach Wilson, but they need a better quarterback in that room. Zach Wilson is not the guy. Did you watch Zach Wilson play this year? Because I did, and he's trash. I really like the way Sean Payton and Bo Nix could potentially work together. Payton wants a quarterback to be on time. There's nobody better at being on time in this draft than Bo Nix. He goes to the Broncos at 12. On the board at 13, they got Gardner Minshew as their number one quarterback right now, but he's not a number one quarterback. They need a quarterback. Michael Penix Jr. is going to the Raiders. If there were ever a quarterback to go to the Raiders, it's Michael Penix Jr. He loves deep shots to Devontae Adams all day. Michael Penix Jr., I love that pick. 13 to the Raiders. On the clock is the Saints. They could go a ton of different places, but could they really pass up on Rome Odunze to go with Olave at 14? No, they can't. Rome Odunze would be a number one wide receiver off the board in pretty much any of the last 10 drafts. Rome Odunze's slide stops at 14 with the Saints. All right, now the Colts are on the board, and they need cornerback Quinyon Mitchell. This is a no-brainer. There's no thought involved. Quinyon Mitchell goes to the Colts at 15. Now the Seahawks are on the board. The Seahawks need pretty much a whole new team, but they need help everywhere. And to me, offensive line is the most important, but we all know Seattle loves their defense, man. They need edge. They need linebacker. Laiatu Latu can play outside linebacker. He can line up on the edge. He could do it all. Laiatu Latu goes to the Seahawks. There's a lot of offensive line depth later in this draft, so Laiatu Latu goes to the Seahawks at 16. Number 17. The Jaguars are on the board. They need a wide receiver super bad, but they also need a defensive back room, like a whole room of defensive backs probably. That's why I like Cooper DeJean to the Jaguars. He can play corner. He can play safety. He can play in the slot. He can play everywhere. He is going to the Jaguars at 17. Here's an interesting pick, guys. The Bengals, from an outside perspective, really need offensive line help. But when you dig deeper into that offensive line, it's not horrible. And they have some picks later in the draft where they can address offensive line. But given Joe Burrow a weapon like Brock Bowers, he's never had a tight end like Brock Bowers, man. Jamar Chase, Brock Bowers, Joe Burrow, OMG. Yo, the Bengals are going to be nice. Now, up at 19 is the LA Rams. Donald just walked in retirement. They need some defensive line help. Byron Murphy is a no-brainer to me at 19 for the Rams. No-brainer. No-brainer. Pittsburgh Steelers are on the board. This is another team that needs a lot of help everywhere. They need tackle help. And to me, J.C. Latham is one of the best tackles in this draft. He might actually end up being the best tackle in this draft. I love his size. Over 75 grades every year. He's excellent everywhere. He doesn't really have a lot of flaws, and he just turned 21. Yo, 6'6", 335. Done deal to the Steelers. Now, the Dolphins are on the clock at 21. I think this is where Drazan Newton's slide stops. They need some defensive line help. Newton's a very good player. He's a little undersized. He came in a little heavier at the combine, I think like 305 pounds, so that's good. I think Newton goes to the Dolphins at 21. Now, the Eagles are on the board. A lot of good players that I like. I like Terry and Arnold. I do like Jared Verse. I don't love him. And I love Amarius Mims. To me, the Eagles haven't drafted a corner in the first round in like 100 years. They build their teams through offense and defensive lines. They really could consider a guy like Laiatu Latu if he's available there. But to me, Amarius Mims is the pick. He's a monster. Solid grade this year, 6'7", 340 pounds. He's got 36.25-inch arms. Monster wingspan. He's a prototypical tackle. He's going to be the replacement for Lane Johnson in a few years. And he doesn't have to start right away. And if he earns it, he can start at right guard for the Eagles too. Now, the New England Patriots have another pick. They got their quarterback with J.J. McCarthy. Now, we got to protect him. We need some offensive line help. Terribly. Graham Barton can play tackle. He can play guard. He can play center. He's one of the most versatile players in this entire draft. You got to protect J.J. McCarthy. Graham Barton is the best offensive lineman left on the board by a mile. He's going to the Patriots at pick 23. Now, the Cowboys are on the board at pick 24. The board has not worked out particularly well for them. You could go Kool-Aid McKinstry with Diggs coming off that injury. You could go Jackson Powers Johnson if you want to draft the center this early. But to me, looking at who's left, they need tackle help really bad. And the best tackle left on the board is Jordan Morgan. He's been climbing up people's draft boards the last couple weeks. It's back-to-back 83 grades. He's an excellent pass blocker. That's why that climb has happened. I think he goes to the Cowboys. If this is the way the draft board falls, 87 pass block grade, 6'6", 320, good size, a little bit older, a little bit mature of a player. He's a very, very good player. Needs to get a little bit stronger, but he's got the frame to work with for sure. I like this pick because he could play tackle and guard for the Cowboys. Now, the Packers are up. They need guard help, tackle help, interior defensive line, and safety. I think they also need cornerback help. Terrion Arnold's still on the board. I think they need cornerback help more than they need safety help. Their secondary struggled to stop the pass last year considerably. I like Terrion Arnold to the Packers at pick 25. Now, the Buccaneers are up pick 26. They need a lot of different parts for this team, but Jared Verse still being on the board, 84 grade, 80 grades every single year, 90 pass rush grade, pass rush win rate at 21%. That's some of the highest I've ever seen covering college sports. Jared Verse is an excellent pick for the Buccaneers. Now, the Arizona Cardinals get another pick. They got their wide receiver in round 1. I really think they need offensive line help, and I think they go Jackson Powers Johnson. Be that center for the next decade. He's a very good player. They need offensive line help. I like Jackson Powers Johnson. You need to protect Kyler Murray so he can get the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. Jackson Powers Johnson is the guy at 27. 28. The Bills got rid of their whole wide receiver team. Diggs is with Houston. Gabe Davis is also gone. Let's take the best wide receiver on the board, Brian Thomas Jr., with that 4.3, 4.4 speed at his size. Incredible. Him and Josh Allen should be fun to watch. Now, the Lions are on the board, pick 29. If the board falls like this to the Lions, they're going to be stoked. Nate Wiggins is on the board, everybody. I love Nate Wiggins here. Cornerback from Clemson. He's a little bit skinny, but he's got good size, but he's got elite speed. Elite speed. Great man-to-man coverage guy. Nate Wiggins falls to the Lions at pick 29. Now, the Ravens are on the board. You can go wide receiver here, guard. You can go tackle. Not a lot of offensive linemen of value at this point in the draft. They could go Tyler Guyton. They could definitely go Tyler Guyton or Adonai Mitchell. Ravens fans, I want a big outside weapon. Less than a 2% drop rate. He had one drop all season, 86 targets, 55 receptions, 11 tutties, over 15 yards of reception, 6'4", 196. Yo, him and Lamar Jackson are going to be balling out. I love this pick. San Francisco is on the board, and I was talking about Tyler Guyton earlier, and I think this is a great spot for San Francisco to pick up a guy who needs a little bit of work, a little bit of polish, but could be potentially a franchise type of tackle. Tyler Guyton goes to San Francisco at pick 31. And then the Chiefs are up on the board at pick 32. I've made this pick a bunch of times. I'm going to pick it again. Ladd McConkey is going to the Chiefs. I haven't seen a slot receiver this good since Julian Edelman. He's got incredible hands, great speed coming from the slot. He can even line up outside. I think he's that good. He could be a number 2 or probably the best slot receiver in the NFL. And the day that he gets drafted, he's probably going to be a top 10 guy running routes. That's how crisp his route running is. I love this pick for the Chiefs at pick 32. All right, NFL fans, there it is. My final mock draft for the 2024 season. I know we've done a ton of mock drafts. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my content this year for my draft coverage. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. If you could hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, I would really, really appreciate it. Help us get in that algorithm. But I think we crushed it. I'm going to print this out and see how well I did. I'm going to do a live stream on draft day this Thursday for the first round. We're going to have a lot of fun, maybe a little boozing, a little bleezing. We're going to have some fun, so make sure you tune into the live stream. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again, guys. Peace!